Do not California my Tennessee. Brandon Lewis here with the Tennessee Conservative News, donning our brand new Don't California My Tennessee bumper stickers. And if you go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support, you can be the proud owner of one of these puppies. We just got these things in the old USPS mail. Hopefully you like them. We've had some people say that they want them, and here they are. And if you go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com and you click that support button, we'll send you that. We'll also send you a proud Tennessee Conservative bumper sticker that looks similar in design. This wonderful directory with all your state reps and state senators. And if you should give $50 or more, or if you give any type of recurring donation, we will send you this proud Tennessee Conservative tumbler. This is the same thing that they build spaceships out of. So if you were to put some of your objects in here and send it into the atmosphere upon re-entry, guess what? Nothing would burn up. It has magical properties. Again, Brandon here with the TennCon Big 7 News Break, and I'm going to tell you what the biggest stories are in Tennessee from a conservative perspective. And if you would, in the comments section, go ahead and tell me where you're watching from. I can see you people out there watching. I can see you. You can't see me, but I can see you because I have put tracking devices on your computer because I have friends in the CIA and the MIA and the MMA and the WWF, and they've all got cameras on you. It is good to see your smiling faces. Do put in the comment sections where you're watching from, and as we go through these bills, let me know what you think about them when we talk about these stories. Let me know your thoughts, even if you watch this thing later when it's not being recorded live. A quick note, would you please make sure that you are watching your emails a little bit closer? Donna, computer is stopping, turning on and off. Holly is giving me the laugh signs. I can't help if technology is something terrible happening. I'm going to try my best to get through this, and hopefully it will record properly. If not, we'll try to figure out something technically later. So it's getting late in the day. Typically, I would not do the news break this late, but we got a lot of stuff going on. And as you know, I also work in another profession. Jason, Clark Range, I know you, buddy. I also work another profession. I've got a big conference that's coming up in Florida next week, and I got to make sure that I've got everything ready for that. Finally, we're going to be reporting a lot on what's going on in Nashville in these committees and subcommittees. We're going to be telling you about good bills that you need to support. We're going to be telling you about bills that you probably might want to call your state senators or reps and say, hey, we're not into that. So do, over the next month to 3 months, be paying close attention to the news stories we cover, because we're going to really be bringing you what you need to know about, because nobody else will. All right, let's get into it. First story, bill to stop Tennessee taxpayer education funding of illegal immigrants is in subcommittee. Leave your comments. Tell me what you think. Margaret says, keep up the great work. Thank you, Miss Twin. Here we go. State Rep Bruce Griffey, who's been putting some good bills up, some of the best bills I've seen, has a bill that would allow public schools to deny enrollment and not allow the state to fund them for students who are deemed to be in the country illegally. Well, now this seems like common sense to me. I can't go to Mexico and have them pay for my college and my education. You know what they'd do? They'd stick me in jail. That's exactly what they would do. That's how other countries, for the most part, work with their illegal immigration. And it is currently in the K through 12 subcommittee. So if you want to talk to them about that, it's a good place to do it. Griffey's bill seeks to make Tennessee a more inhospitable state for illegal immigrants by denying them one of the perks, at your expense, I might add, that currently comes with habitating within the state. Now, one of the big reasons that we have these problems with illegal immigration in our state is simply because you get free housing, you get free food, you can work and not pay taxes in many cases, and will pay for your education. Who wouldn't come into a country that offered all of that? Meanwhile, the taxpayers pay the burden. It's a tremendous strain on our already, I would say, struggling but failing government schools, with all these English as a second language kids getting dumped into the same classrooms as other children, often coming in fifth grade but being at a first grade level. And I've heard from educators all over the state that this is a huge problem in their classrooms. we seem unwilling to do much about it. The bill directly opposes a U.S. Supreme Court decision that says all states are required to supply free education to individuals that are here illegally. Now, Griffey makes a very good point. If we never challenge any of this, and if we never send it back up to the Supreme Court now that it's more conservative, we can never get a favorable ruling. So states have to start asserting their states' rights, or we'll never have that, and we'll never have any. We've got to start practicing nullification in the volunteer state. The bill would allow the state to withhold funding for students who are deemed to be in the country illegally and school districts who choose to enroll them. The funding for those students would be the sole responsibility of the district, and the state would be held harmless against the action regarding that funding. And James says he is from Saudi Daisy. He's a refugee from the People's Republic of California. James, if you're watching this show, you're probably a good egg, so I'm glad that you are here. Districts would also not be allowed to count students deemed to be in the country illegally toward the basic education program's state funding calculations. Many good bills, I'm here to tell you, will die in committees or subcommittees. Rhinos will kill them. Educational lobbyists and teacher union lobbyists will come in there before they ever have a chance to get voted on. So if you support the bill, I would contact the members of the K through 12 subcommittee. And I think if you look in the comments section, what you'll see is that Jason has posted the links to these stories where we have also put the committee members. Next story. This is a shocker to all conservatives, I understand. More than 50,000 illegal immigrants released into the United States don't show up for court hearings. What? Oh, come on. Come on, this can't be true. More than 50,000 illegal immigrants released into the U.S. by Immigration and Customs Enforcement failed to report to their deportation proceedings during a 5-month period analyzed last year. And that's last year before we really got cooking. According to a report provided by the Department of Homeland Security to U.S. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, the report also states that ICE doesn't have court information on more than 40,000 individuals it's supposed to prosecute. Between March and August of 2021, as a result of the Biden administration's failed border policies, over 270,000 illegal aliens have been dispersed into the United States with little chance of removal, Johnson said in an announcement accompanying the report. The data was provided to Johnson, who sits on the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, in response to a letter he sent Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas in October after Mayorkas failed to answer his questions during the committee hearings last September meeting. Now, why in the world would you be transparent with the American people about trying to kill our culture and bring people in that we don't know anything about their criminal background, with all the drugs coming across the border, with the strains on the economy, with COVID, which we're supposed to be concerned about everywhere unless it's on the southern border, which is almost non-existent. And if it were not for the fine people of Texas and Governor Abbott, who I would love for him to sit down with Bill Lee and talk about how to have a conservative backbone, if it weren't for them stymieing some of this flow coming into our country illegally, we'd be in trouble. Fake news. Humans can't be illegal. Sarcasm. That is what the left says. Well, I'll tell you what. I've been arrested 3 times. I am a human, and I have been illegal. I have been illegal before, perpetrating illegal acts and shenanigans. And so, you do illegal things, you end up in the hoose cow. That's how it goes. Next story. Griffey introduces Second Amendment bill in honor of Kyle Rittenhouse. I love this one. Tennessee State Representative Bruce Griffey, and again, he's putting bills out there, and I know that he was at odds with leadership, and I know that he was at odds because he does not go along to get along. Frankly, Griffey puts bills in the hopper that Republican primary voters have been begging for forever, and guess what he gets for it? Guess what he gets for it? He gets ostracized. If we had more people pushing the conservative envelope like Griffey, and I wish he was staying in the House instead of running for judge, we'd be a lot better off. We live under policies, not personalities. Tennessee State Representative Bruce Griffey has introduced a bill at the Tennessee General Assembly to strengthen the protection of self-defense in the Second Amendment. The bill, known as Kyle's Law, would require a court to order the state to reimburse a criminal defendant for all reasonable costs incurred in the defense if the defendant was charged with a criminal homicide offense and found not guilty due to the justification of self-defense. The bill would also authorize the court and the state or the prosecuting attorney to pay damages for malicious prosecution. Griffey said of this bill, quote, Luckily, Kyle Rittenhouse was rightfully acquitted of all charges, but not after thousands of dollars were expended on attorney's fees for his legal defense, reputational damage was incurred, and emotional stress was suffered. He can never fully be made whole for what he was forced to endure, but under the law I'm proposing, if someone in Tennessee is placed in that same situation as Rittenhouse in the future, he or she can at least be financially compensated. My bill would help deter what happened to Rittenhouse from happening to someone in Tennessee and will protect the rights of Tennesseans to self-defense. I could see a situation in a city like Memphis or Nashville where if the narrative was right that these DAs that are off the rails in these liberal cities that we have in Tennessee, they won't prosecute real crimes, but buddy, they'll chase one that looks like a race baiting situation. I'm absolutely positive of it. So I think we need to get out in front of this stuff. This is a good story. Here it goes. University of Memphis cancels plan to bribe professors to teach woke activism with your tax dollars. Now, this is a small victory because I don't know why Republicans in Tennessee continue to give millions and billions of dollars to corporations that push woke activism. Ford Motor Company is one of them. They railed against the voter integrity laws, and here we are giving them $1 billion of your tax dollars to bring them in along with the unions. It's really a big mess, and we're doing this at the University of Tennessee Knoxville. We're doing it at the University of Tennessee in Chattanooga, where we're taking tax dollars and sending them into these indoctrination centers, and we need to stop it. If they want to teach that crap, no state funds. Very simple. Somebody should put a bill together for that. Write your state reps. If you watch this later, write state reps, write your state senator and ask them, will you introduce a bill to keep woke universities and woke corporations from receiving state dollars? That'd be a good bill. Here's the story. A controversial plan by the University of Memphis is Eradicating Systematic Racism and Promoting Social Justice Initiative to offer $3,000 as an incentive to professors to incorporate teachings on critical race theory in their courses has been canceled. All right, guys, we're all here for automotive shop. As you can see here, this is an old school carburetor. And you know, the old school carburetor reminds me of social justice reform. I mean, you're just going to put this crap into any curriculum and you get $3,000, and no matter even if it pertains to it, never mind the fact that it's ludicrous and it's just new racism in a new package. Governor Bill Lee criticized the plan by stating, "We welcome a robust debate on college campuses, but taxpayer dollars should not be used to fuel a divisive radical agenda." Well, then don't send them the money at all. There's a bunch of this stuff going on. Lee contacted the University of Memphis after becoming aware of the plan. Lee said in a statement, "The University of Memphis has informed my office that the initiative will not move forward. Ending this program was the right decision, and I thank the university for hearing our concerns." And I bet there's a lot of professors getting paid state dollars at that university that teach this without the incentive because they're commies. And we don't need to be funding these indoctrination grounds because it's just anti-conservative and anti-Republican. I mean, we are educating and indoctrinating in both K through 12 and post-secondary education people to never vote for Republicans. And it's insane that Republicans continue to take your tax dollars and my tax dollars in a red state and send it to these places and give it to these corporations. They need to stop. Hawley said, "We have to clean out our House and Senate. Too many are for sale." Buddy, they're not for sale. They're bought and paid for. They're paid off decades into the future. Some of Tennessee's Republican congressional delegation also spoke out about the program. U.S. Representative Tim Burchett lambasted university leadership, saying that they should be ashamed for bribing professors to teach this useless teaching. And U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn says that taxpayer dollars should not be used to fund a woke socialist agenda. I agree. Next story. U.S. political alignments experienced a historic shift in 2021. Newly released polling shows that Americans have undergone a major political shift in the past year amid economic challenges. The ongoing pandemic and a series of bills and mandates coming out of Washington, D.C. has caused people to change their minds. Gallup released polling showing that during 2021, millions of Americans switched from an affiliation with the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. Gallup reports a 9 percentage point Democratic advantage in the first quarter to a rare 5-point Republican edge in the fourth quarter. That's a big swing. Gallup said both 9-point Democratic advantage in the first quarter and the 5-point Republican edge in the fourth quarter are among the largest Gallup has measured for each party in any quarter since it began reporting in 1991. Next story. Warner advocates Vote Act to determine 2020 election accuracy. State Representative Todd Warner has filed a Verify Our Tennessee Elections Vote Act. This bill, if it becomes law, will require the Tennessee County Election Commissions to conduct a thorough investigation and review of ballots and equipment from the 2020 general election. The purpose of the bill would be to determine the accuracy of election results for the United States presidential and congressional elections in Tennessee. Warner's bill is not the only bill that has been introduced into the current general session that pertains to elections. House Bill 1662, sponsored again by our friend Bruce Griffey, seeks to establish a verifiable paper trail for every ballot cast in the volunteer state. Linda says, trust these polls like I trust the COVID numbers. I'm with you. Sanctity of Human Life Sunday. According to the CDC data, 9,719 abortions took place in Tennessee in 2019. This number includes abortions performed on out-of-state residents, that means people coming into our state, but does not include abortions performed on Tennessee residents in other states, meaning if somebody left and went to another state. The CDC data reports that 18.8% of all abortions that took place in Tennessee in 2019 were performed on out-of-state residents. So basically about 1 in 5 were people coming, we're a magnet, apparently, for some folks to get an abortion. In the same year, 10.8% of all pregnancies ended in abortion in Tennessee. That's sad. The number does not include miscarriages. In 2009, that percentage was 18%, and over a decade span from 2009 to 2019, the numbers of abortions performed in Tennessee has steadily dropped, and I hope we get those down to zero. In 1984, President Ronald Reagan issued a proclamation designated January 22nd as the first National Sanctity of Human Life Day in 1984. On Sanctity of Human Life Sunday, churches in the United States celebrate the divine gift of life, commit to protecting human life at every stage, and commemorate those lives that have been lost to abortion. Those are your headlines, people. Do go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support or click that link in the comments section, and you can get your Don't California My Tennessee bumper sticker, along with all the other goodies we typically give, both the mug, the directory, and the Proud Tennessee Conservative bumper sticker. I'm Brandon Lewis. Do go anywhere you get your podcasts and search for Tennessee Conservative and subscribe to that puppy. If you prefer to listen to this thing instead of looking at my ugly mug in my kitchen, if you prefer to listen, as I often do, that'll be a good alternative to you. And if you email with Jason Vaughn, who is the backbone of the Tennessee Conservative, who's the man inside the machine, send him an email and say, I apologize that Brandon got this out so late. He's already 2 beers deep, and there's no telling when this thing's going to come out. I appreciate you, Jason. Thank you to all of my conservative friends in the 3 grand divisions. I'll talk to you next week. No, I won't. Next week, we're going to have a guest. We're going to have a special guest that's going to do the news rundown. I'm not even going to tell you who it is, but I think you're going to enjoy it. Brandon Lewis here with Tennessee Conservative. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.